all health related, all education related, all tied in this package. Now, how does that get you to economic sustainability? Because there is this issue of access to programs, but there's also the issue of access to opportunity. We have to have this opportunity to be able to access capital, to be able to create our own ownership situations that will allow us to provide a vegan restaurant in our communities. And we know, you know what that fellow from up there somewhere northeast who's running from some big outfit said, that if you want to start your little juice bar, you should go talk to your parents and borrow some money from them, without regard to the fact that they might not have money to lend you, because they might not have the economic situation to provide that. But I'm not political, y'all. I never would be. I never would be. So when we talk about those 5 things, the criminal justice system, we have to deal with the issues that put people on a path to that system. All of those things are tied together. Oh, transportation. Don't let me leave my sister out. Let's talk about this transportation piece. Do y'all remember Katrina? Do you remember the pictures from New Orleans? All of those people who were in the Superdome and at the convention center, why were they there? They didn't have the means to get out. They didn't have the means to get out. Now, one issue is, in fact, the question of basic transportation. The ability to move masses of people. And I'm a citizen of the state with an idiot as a governor. I happened this early summer to decide that I wanted to take a train trip across the country. And I live in Tampa, Florida. Now, I wanted to go to the state of Washington on a train from Tampa, Florida. But my governor, you know him. He says that there's no demand for that kind of transit. It's not sustainable. Well, I went down to the Tampa train station, Union Station, and I was amazed. You know, we only got 2 trains a day. Okay, one going this way and the other one going the other way. All right. Now, at the Tampa train station is interesting because the folks in Fort Myers can buy a ticket from Fort Myers to Washington, D.C. on a train. But they gotta get on a bus in Fort Myers, take the bus to Tampa in order to get to the train. Same thing happens in the villages, you know, where the rich folks, those folks that are Whitfield's neighbors, who are stupid. But anyway, I digress. They have to ride that same bus to Tampa to get the train, or to Orlando to get the train. Now, interestingly enough, in this place where there is no demand for trains, Adora, I went to buy a ticket at the train station, and there were almost 200 people in the Tampa Union Station waiting on the train to go to Miami. Think about that. 200 people, some of whom had to ride a bus to get to the Tampa train station to go to Miami. And one reason they were there is because the ticket on the train from Tampa to Miami is $49. And they can't drive, and they sure can't fly for that amount. But I got on the little train and I came to Orlando, and there were 300 people at the station in Orlando. So there's no demand for trains. We are not serving our people. So we have to demand that. But go back to those people at the Superdome after Katrina. And then we come to this issue called voter ID, where it says you have to have a government certified form of identification, and some states make it a little bit more difficult than other states to get this identification. Well, a lot of those people who were at the Superdome didn't have a picture ID. That's a problem. That's a problem. The same is true up and down the line in Florida. Older citizens don't have a birth certificate. You remember, to get a picture ID at a Florida driver's license plate, you got to go in with 17 forms of identification, prove that you're who you are. And you have to pay for it. That's a poll tax. So those transportation problems can lead somehow to an effort to deny folks the right to vote by creating systems that make it more difficult, that discourage people from voting. 5 elements: health, education, economic sustainability, public safety and criminal justice, and the right to vote. NAACP. All of these things are in fact tied together. And it is your responsibility at the branch level to develop programs that address them in tandem. That's why it's important that you understand what the regulatory process is. That's why it's important that you understand what the business opportunities are. That's why it's important that you provide opportunities for your communities to understand what that is. What does that mean? It means that you got to have these conversations at your community level, in your church. You got to be talking about what happens with the Public Service Commission. What happens with this whole sustainable energy piece, renewable energy piece? And how can it impact us negatively and positively? And what can we do in our communities to deal with those things, to engage in those things? I'm making the speech that the president wanted me to make for dinner on Saturday, but I know about it. The whole ball of wax is that we must become more strategic. We have to think outside of the box. We have to look at our priority areas and understand that even though it may not specifically say that we're concerned about diet, that if we talk about health and if we talk about education, then we have to talk about that. We have to talk about business opportunity, and we have to talk about it in our communities. We have to, and I know I got a couple of preachers up in here, we have to use the church. We have to use all of the facilities we have in our communities to make our people aware of what they need to be doing. We are an advocacy organization. Our process is education, legislation, and litigation. We can't feed everybody. We can't give everybody a ride. But what we can do is make sure that everybody is aware of what needs to be done, and we can go before our policy-making bodies and ensure that they are aware of what the needs are and what we believe the solutions are. And we can demand those things, and when they are not achieved, we have an obligation to exercise the franchise that people bled and died for the last 103 years. It is our obligation to get people to the polls, to educate them on what they ought to do when they get there, and to make sure that they have access to get there and do what they need to do. NAACP, you got work to do. I know some of y'all just can't eat lunch. Y'all like that chicken so much. You just can't eat lunch. But folks, we have work to do. We have 5 priority game changers to deal with, and it is up to you. Because Leon can't do it. Leon retired. Thank you.